This Builders Corner, a storytelling podcast where we meet builders where their wins, their losses, lessons they have learned, and also spotlight their product. So kindly introduce yourself, tell us what you do, who you are.
I'm Chibuotu Amadi, online Chibie. I'm a software engineer primarily. I'm also a builder in Web3 space. I'm the co-founder of CEO of Paycrest. Yes, I have my background in computer engineering. So all things innovation and engineering is what I'm excited about. Like to build products that are useful to the everyday users really comes around the capabilities of what decentralization and the blockchain could do for humans entirely and the way we work, the way we transfer value and connect with each other. That's typically what I'm about.
That's interesting. That's interesting. You were people and I love the fact that you have focused on products for everyday humans. So I want to ask you, before you got into Web3, what were you before you became a builder?
If I got into Web3 specifically, I was a builder, but not in Web3. I was basically freelancing for the most part. I was like building products for clients. I've played around even building my own thing. Engineers do, but more in the freelance, more as a freelancer. Just you give me a project, I get it done, I get paid for it. When you're working as a freelancer and you're doing projects of people and getting it can look like sometimes that we ship a product that's really good, all your emotions got into it, and then you get paid, and the payment isn't really you just wish that you like I spent time building this for someone. I could have as well just built that as a product and built a company and a business around that. Right. So there's still that part of me that wanted to build products and actually take them to markets, not just getting paid to do gigs. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's what I was basically doing, just working in the Web2 space as a software engineer and doing what coders do.
You are someone that has built a lot of products from freelancing to startups. What product are interesting you learned? What are some projects you have got involved with in the past that didn't go well, and the lessons you learned from this product that didn't go well?
Yeah, I think specifically for the Web3 space, the product I built as a founder has been this product that handled the goal was to build a healthcare network called Cura Network. The goal was to build a decentralized healthcare system. You can have patients, doctors, health insurance organizations, pharmacies, practically every stakeholder. What that would mean for an end user would be if you wanted to go to a hospital today to get attended to, you would usually get a hospital card. And then if it's a new hospital, you'll be told to run tests again. And apart from the test, they don't even have your health record. So they don't know your medical history. So you have to do everything all over again, right? So every hospital you go to is like a new journey from the start. And that's so stressful. So we wanted to do a system where we could find a way to take health records on chain, preserve privacy, and then allow people travel from one point to another, switch hospitals, even switch hospitals in different countries, and then the hospitals can basically get access to your health records just using your ID, right? Facilitated by the blockchain. That was project. We started that, did an ICO, and got some more money, but then not so much money. But later on, we realized that it was really hard getting that to market because we're starting in Nigeria and a lot of the hospitals we're interacting with weren't online. They even had health records on paper in file, right? And because the health records were in file, you needed to let them know that those health records are on file can be on a laptop computer or a server, and then let them know that that server needed to be online before you start saying anything about having those records on the blockchain. So it was a very hard process to go through, and which wasn't going to make sense. And we pivoted to now do just and it's interoperable telemedicine system. So all that, it was really difficult to scale it, right? And I think the lesson I learned there was the fact that you needed to be, before you build something on the blockchain, you need to be sure that certain primitives are accepted. For example, you cannot sell blockchain to someone that doesn't know about the internet, or someone that's not comfortable using social media, or someone that's never used a computer. Those primitives have to be there. So I think when I'm building solutions now, especially in Web3 space, I want to build something that allows that people already have prerequisite knowledge about in terms of their day-to-day use. I think it's going to be really difficult building a startup where you're saying you want to teach, you want to do products to get farmers on the blockchain. It's possible if you're not that, if you're completely abstracting everything Web3. Yeah, but it's still something you have to think deeply about to be sure if the blockchain is really the best use case for it. So I thought about market before you start building it. I don't know if that makes sense.
The fact that people have to check out market before they start building products is something that is very insightful. So what are you currently building? Let's hear what you are building, your product. What are you currently building?
Okay, I'm building Paycrest. Yes, I'm building Paycrest. I'll show you my t-shirt. Yes, Paycrest. So Paycrest is a payment routing protocol, a decentralized payment routing protocol that allows people exchange and fiat to stable coin instantly and at zero fee. What's unique about it is we're trying to build this routing protocol as an open protocol, meaning that anyone can connect, it's open source, it's permissionless, and then operators can bring their own liquidity also. You understand? You can bring your own liquidity. So it's P2P driven in terms of liquidity. What this allows us to do is allow build applications that would allow them like power their financial applications to send for off-ramps and on-ramps. We've seen people use it for payroll. Let's say you're building an app where you want your users to hold stablecoin, but you want them to be able to have stablecoin as cash, or you're building a payroll system where as an organization you have stablecoin as your treasury, but then your employees live in different countries and you want to pay them salary. So how do you do that? And they need to actually get their cash or in local currency. So what you usually do is you can use Paycrest to facilitate your app where you send stable coins and all your employees get local currencies in their different currencies. And this happens in seconds. Previously, you would use something like Swift or like a system that could take 2 to 3 business days or take hours to settle. But with Paycrest, it's a matter of seconds, right? And that liquidity can scale upward. And one of those apps is also what we built at Paycrest, noblocks.xyz. And noblocks.xyz is an application that shows one use case of Paycrest, which is spending stablecoin as cash. So you can go to Noblocks today, you have $10, you sign in with your email. It's very abstracted and easy to use. You have USDC and you can transfer money to Kenyan shillings, Nigerian naira, Tanzania shillings, Uganda shillings. So it basically means if you wanted to travel to another country where you needed to exchange dollars at the airport, you don't need to do that anymore. Just travel to Kenya with your USDC. You can pay for tuk-tuk, or what do they call it? Boda rides. You can pay for you can pay, and the recipient gets money M-Pesa with M-Pesa into their M-Pesa accounts. You can do the same in Tanzania mobile money. We had someone recently that was at Tanzania, at Zanzibar for vacation, and he practically made all his payments using Noblocks, right? To make payments in Zanzibar. You see, so that's what Noblocks is about. That's what we're building here.
Does Noblocks have an app?
Progressive. Yeah, it's a web platform. It's a web app currently, and it's also a progressive web app. So you can basically add it to your mobile home screen. But an actual mobile app on Android and iOS is not yet live. But we hope to have that live before the year runs out. So it's in the works.
That means I could pay, if I go to shop right now, I could pay from Noblocks for the stuff I'm going to buy. right?
Exactly. You pay for no block. And you can you can even do microtransaction as low as 0.5 USD if you wanted and go as high as you want. Yeah, so that's really is important for microtransaction and also salaries and the likes.
Every product has a why, I would love to know why no block. Why did you build no blocks? And then why did you build it on Base?
For Base, I think that's a no-brainer. Base is like practically standing on the foundation of Coinbase, and they're incredibly successful in the US. And so imagine all that liquidity and all that experience, and then coming to an L2. So it's a no-brainer that Base would be around for the longest time. Yes, and would also be able to create a lot of network effects because they have capital, right? And Base last year we did a hackathon. Was it last year? Yes, last year we did a hackathon on the Base Onchain buildathon last year. We're among the winners. That's how No Blocks even started. So the hackathon project in the Base Onchain Summer Buildathon. And I think I like the creativity in the Base ecosystem, the fact that it is creator focused, like builder centric. I mean, before we even did that hackathon, I think I pitched Paycrest. We're just having like a Base regular update call on Telegram, something like that, on Gather Town, and then I shared my screen and showed what I was building. A few days later, or few days later, I think the next week, I got a Base builder grant. Yeah, and that was really interesting. I was like, yo, I didn't even think that qualified for a builder grant. I was not very active on Twitter or active on Paycrest or whatnot, right? I just pitched. So it really showed that they really cared about products that solve real world problems, right? And then so that whole focus on empowering builders makes Base very welcoming as when it comes to builder culture. On the side of the technology as in layer 2, Base, I think their block time is really quick because it's built on OpenStack, right? So really quick block time, so transactions are fast and it's incredibly cheap. And I think it gets cheaper. It's been getting cheaper from last year we built to now. Base transaction fees just gets lower and lower. I wonder where to get to, but it's a couple cents now, right? So it makes it easy. If you're going to spend $0.5 to pay for food or $1, you can't be paying $0.35 in fees. Like the way Onchain does. I won't mention the chain, but like at least, I mean, in sense, you can still make that payment. So it makes sense in order to power microtransactions in tips, in quick spending stablecoin as cash, in a blockchain that's really cheap, and built on a proven stack like the OP stack.
Very authentic. Very authentic. For a Base as the powerhouse, they have a good distribution system. They have the community. They have the infrastructure to support builders, and then they are also creators on Base, and Base empower both technical people, non-technical people. Everyone is welcome on Base. So that's very authentic. Then why no blocks? Why not? Let's say why not a tree planting platform where people can come and invest in planting trees and save the planet from global warming? So why no blocks? Why did you say no blocks?
Oh yeah, I missed that one. Again, that was just a response to we're building Paycrest, actually, a payment routing protocol. And we're thinking, oh, this is a hackathon coming up. What is the best way to show people how this would work? And we figured, I experienced a personal, I travel, so when I travel, I get to deal with a lot of currency exchange and all that stuff. So because of that, I was like, okay, what is the quickest way someone can see the power of Paycrest? And wouldn't need business strategy sections or spending time to onboard a big company or B2B, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months customer acquisition time. And the simple thing was, oh, if I can build an application that allows people to spend their MetaMask, which is a non-custodial, and they can affirm directly from MetaMask to their bank account, that would be nice, right? Because I'm not a big fan of centralized exchanges. I like to use either a hardware wallet or MetaMask like a soft wallet, but it has to be like a wallet, a non-custodial wallet, right? And so I figured out, okay, you know what, let's just build something that can allow you off-ramp from that to bank accounts. Yes, and that's why we're building that's why we built No Blocks. And when I did that demo, I posted on Twitter, a lot of people resonated with that problem, right? And they started also doing that. But basically that's why we built No Blocks. And since then, a lot of people have have started using it for reward situations, reward payments. And I think that's why. It's just to show you that you can actually make payments and move money without compromising on security and decentralization. You don't have to, because people say, oh, you have to use centralized exchanges because they have very good user experience. It's not technical, but we can build products that decentralized, non-custodial, and then they are also easy to use. And I think that's why what we're doing with Noblox, to show that that's possible.
Sorry. So that's very inspirational for you. That chain reaction of you said Noblox, and then people got to get inspiration from the products you guys are building there at Noblox. So what are some challenges you have faced so far, or you are still facing building Noblox?
Yeah, we are solving challenges. Yeah, and some of the challenges that we get to deal with are, as relates to, we're working with a lot of emerging technology. We have to stay on top of research, right? And great shout out to every AI company in the world, every LLM in the world, from Gemini to Chibie, to Claude to Cursor, like every single one that has ever thought about building an AI tool. Shout out to them, right? I think that really helps research time, like make research take faster than you would usually do. So you can easily find the ecosystems of research papers you need to go through or read, and help you synthesize information quickly. Yeah, so I think that's one part. The fact that you're always dealing with emergency, we're always thinking, how can we build products that have great user experience, but then they're still blockchain native? And that's really difficult, because a lot of blockchain, and that's also an opportunity for us, because most persons building the really cool cryptographic primitives, they're not thinking about apps, they're just thinking about research, right? They're just thinking about writing theories and papers. So the good thing is we get to read those papers, we get to understand those primitives, those ZK technologies and the likes, and then we combine that with the thinking of building useful applications and abstract all this, bring that synergy, and that's a good opportunity and also a challenge, because we get to always read, right?
Yeah.
To be on top of information. Because there are some people that have built stuff where you can just integrate an API, but like, oh no, what you want to build is a protocol that has to stay, that has to exist without third-party ties, and you have to use the primitives available to achieve that. So I think that so it has to be open source libraries, and most of them are there. So you have to do a lot of engineering work to get those things to be useful for a reward product. That's a challenge. What other challenge? And having to explain Paycrest, even when it comes to like not explain the product, but explain why you're doing this thing that has to be permissionless and open source. And some people will be like, why don't you just go enterprise? Like, why do you care about it being open source and permissionless? Like, why is that important? But I always sometimes say that imagine someone said, why is Ethereum important? Or why didn't the Ethereum team just build a private blockchain to handle payments? We wouldn't have the network effects that it has today. We wouldn't have the scale and the amount of builder energy that Ethereum has today, right? Or Base has today. We wouldn't have that. So I think that, yeah, that's also having to explain that to particularly investors that have the capital, and yes, people that care about funding you. You have to always explain that and break that down to why this is a crucial part of the mission. And so that's some challenges we get to, but we're getting used to communicating that, and we've had some really good guys that understand the long-term importance of what we're building and are ready to commit early. So that's good.
That's very interesting too. Having to explain the product, what Paycrest is all about, to someone who is not familiar with blockchain, and also having to give account, yeah, have to give account of how funds are being spent and all of that. It's very, very fine. So up next, I would love to ask, because you have been building products and you are familiar with the whole space. I mean, you built Paycrest, now built Noblox to show people what Paycrest can do. and I'm sure you're probably building one or two things behind the scenes. So what do you do when you're stuck?
When I'm stuck, one thing on my mind, and I'm going to tell you the simple, when I'm actually stuck, I pray. That's what I do.
Oh, I'm not I do too. I mean, sometimes I won't pass on top because there are some things you say in life. I know that, man, this man.
Because for me, right, prayer is the best way I can tap into my creativity and visionary sites, right? So if I'm stuck or something, and most times the problems you're trying to solve don't exist, right? So
yeah,
or they have primitives that are not in their full form yet. So you need some sort of intuitive, your intuition has to be sharp, your inner eyes need to be very sharp. So because it's always worked for me through the years, right? Always, like even when I'm stuck on a bug that's taking me hours or days, I just take out time and pray. I think I just come back and have wisdom for it, and I go past it. So that's
wow.
that's what I do when I'm stuck, right? So I come at it spiritually.
Yeah, the second builder I'm asking this question, and the person says praying. Someone said that one of the persons I've had on this podcast said that in his former line of work that you smoke with to enter the spiritual realm. And just that is when they get inspiration from. You have to go, into the division. I don't smoke, you take alcohol and all that, and then you're not, the high of the high. But so I could really relate when you said prayer. I mean, prayer is the master key. It could unlock doors and give you that. Okay, this is the road to follow. So thanks for not being ashamed of your faith and what you do. We have come to the end of this section, and to be honest, it has been a wonderful time like having you on this call and hearing from your thoughts and everything. I want to give a shout out to three communities that has aided your growth generally as a builder.
I think generally, I'd say one would be as a builder, the founder. Magma is one community I would always mention. It started by the convener of Magma is 𝐷𝐿𝐿, ideally, right? Magma has really helped in building that connection for African founders, and that was really helpful for me. Yeah, it really helps you because you're going to get real feedback, even the ones you want to hear and the ones you don't want to hear, right? You're connected with other builders, you're learning founder failures, so it's part of other things. So it's not like nobody's going to bullshit you. So I think Magma was really helpful. Another community would be that I can really just connect with people. I think Builders Connect. I was one of the founders of Builders Connect, and that has really been a selling point for a lot of African founders, Web3 founders, particularly across the continent. And we also have some international guys. Even the founder of Daisy is there, just Polak and some others, founder of 𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿, founder of Scroll. We just have, it's like a contact point if you want to meet builders across Africa. So it's on Telegram, Builders Connect, that helps. I'm not really much of a community person, so those two stick. When I mean community person, I like physical community and relating with people. But
yeah,
a third one, I would have loved to say I can't call it community, but maybe I can call it person.
I would give shout out to persons later, just like person, but this is just for community.
I think I'll just say those two communities that help. But no, it's not person. No, it's a person. It's people. Let me explain. It's a community, but it's not a community that is in one group. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not like a named community. I'll just say it's the whole base community. Like these DevRels and folks just rally no blocks. Like always in my DMs, like, yo, this guy wants to integrate Paycrest. Connect. This person wants to. I'm just in groups. You get me? And I think that has really helped Paycrest grow. Like the users we've had, a lot of that has leaned on the introductions I've gotten from the base community. So that's a shout out. So it's not like one community that I would say, okay, I can call it base Africa community, like base African base, not base Africa as far that's included, but
I get your point. The whole base community.
Yeah, so that has really.
That's interesting. I can relate very well with the base community. If you build a product out there and then you'll say, this person wants to. I mean, just like this call we are having, I don't know you before. I know you before, I know you, but then I haven't had the opportunity to have something like this with you. But then just say, okay, this person you'll be meeting this week and be interviewing him, having you on your podcast. So Base Company is very supportive, very, very supportive. Thanks for that. So now you're going to give a shout to 3 builders that inspire you. Just 3 persons that inspire you to build better.
Number one, do they have to be African builders or like anywhere?
No. Anywhere.
And do they have to be Web3 or anywhere in the world or any industry?
Anywhere in the world, anywhere.
Oh, interesting. Any industry also. Okay. I think inspire me to build. This would be cliche if I say it. Right?
Okay.
Okay. No, I'll answer it. But a lot of people would say, oh, obviously this person. But it's on a more deeper level for me. But
okay.
I'll say Steve Jobs.
All right.
From years ago. And that's because I think my whole idea when it comes to product innovation and appreciation for beautiful interfaces were all inspired by like Apple, basically. That not just Apple, particularly what Steve Jobs did with Apple, right? I just like the attention to detail. You're not just building stuff that is technically sound, but something that's beautiful. You get what I'm saying? So like you're dealing with people would use technology. So it needs to be beautiful. I always die on the heel of the whole Android iPhone conversation. And I'll tell you, I have an Android, but I like iPhones. And it's not just about iPhone, Android. No, it's about, I understand the story. I really relate with the whole Steve Jobs ideology to product innovation, the beauty, the art, calligraphy. So that is what inspires me to even use an app or use Apple devices. So it's not just about status or anything that the whole African ecosystem messes with, right? But it's just about that. So I think that's one person, Steve Jobs. Rest in peace. I would call in Africa. I think I'll call. I'd say Yele Bademosi of Nestcoin. Not just around product, but his close home. The builder energy is like. I like the fact that I've spoken with people that have worked with Yele, right? And a lot of them think he's a great guy. You get, so it's not just about me, it's about the fact that you can build people, not just products. You can actually build people, not just products. So the people you have built go on to end up starting companies out. Yeah, so I think that's quite interesting. I think it's a shining light when it comes to African Web3 space, and he's really helped me personally too. That's the most on board. That's on board.
Yeah.
I think that's second person. This is in no particular order, right?
Order.
And then there's lots more person that expand, but I just want to say. And then I think I also like what this person is doing. What's the name? 𝐿𝐷𝐿𝐿𝐿, right? I like 𝐿𝐷𝐿𝐿 because the Flutterwave, the guy that exited Flutterwave and
Flutterwave.
Yeah, I think I like 𝐿𝐷𝐿𝐿 because he has this perspective to faith and building products, right? That's a lot of people don't agree with. I don't even agree with him on some things, but I just like his audacity, like that sheer audacity to just have an opinion and stick to it. Like, and he's proven himself right for the exits he has had, right? And whether you agree or not, man, this guy is successful.
You can onboard him to Base. I mean, you can onboard him to Base because it integrates with that. You know.
I've not met him. I've been trying to onboard him. Like, I have posts that I've pushed. Like, he has gotten to relate with what Paycrest is doing. Like, what, but like, so I'm keeping updates. Don't worry. I'm giving updates, and
no problem.
One day.
Yeah. So far, what advice would you give to someone who is scared to start? So the audience watching this video right now and they are inspired by it, because trust me, a lot of people are inspired by what you guys are doing at Paycrest and at No Block. So what advice are you going to give to them?
There's two ways I'm going to answer that, right? There is fear and there is scared. Like you're scared in the sense that you want, because you're going to take something, you're taking a risk, right? But there's two ways. If you're actually having fear about starting, I'll say don't start. I know that's counter intuitive, but I think doing anything in life requires a great amount of faith and believe in the fact that it's going to work. I believe that before you start something, you should be able to see success at the beginning. I'm not saying you achieve success, but you should be able to be inspired by the glimpse, the hope of the success. You think you're going to fail, you're going to fail. It's for sure you will fail. So better work on the mentality. Just stay doing what you're doing that works. Work on that mentality, and then when you think you have a lot of vision and inspiration to drive this thing, then you can go for it in spite of the anxiety there. Now, for those that have a clear vision and they believe they can do this, they believe they will win at it, but then they're scared, they're anxious. I would say there's only one way to find out whether you're going to win at it, is to try it. Okay. And you don't lose either way. Like, either way means that if you don't do anything, you didn't do it, so you don't know the outcome. There's this thing Gary Vee used to say, he used to take it to the extreme, but what if I said I have two choices, to start Paycrest or not to start it, right? What if I said I will start Paycrest, and then when I said I would start Paycrest, I was going on a business trip and I got into an airplane that crashed and I died. Yes. And what would have saved me from that death would have been not starting Paycrest. Do you get me? I didn't start Paycrest and I stayed in my house just working remotely or doing something else. Maybe I wanted to just start be a travel blogger. I could do travel blogging, and then one day I'm in a building shooting my film and the building collapsed and I die. The building collapses and I die. You see, you wouldn't know. So I'm saying everything needs faith. So just start. That's the point. You get it? So you're scared that if I do this, I don't know what will happen. If I don't do it, like, you don't know what will happen either way. So whatever you think you believe in, you want to chase, and you're anxious about, do it scared. But you will be having this call and you're like, oh, I'm having these camera issues, I've been having this. Well, we still had the call in the end, and that's why I had to. Now, normally I would have said, oh, no, let's settle some other time because we stayed a long time on the call. But I won't do that. Why? I'm inspired that you're staying. You get when, like, you're doing this despite the challenges. You get what I'm saying? You're doing this. You're here regardless. Your phone battery is low. Oh, I don't have this. How do I record? But you're doing it. That's the point. One day you believe it will pay off. So I think that's what it's about. If you think you're not able to go through that route and just take the risk, there's no point starting, right? That's just, I don't have any nice words for. Hope it was a good advice.
No, it's very wonderful.
If you want to do something that's going to be remembered or remarkable, if you're going to make a dent in history or do anything that people would really bless a lot of people, then you have to be visionary, you have grit, and you have to do things without being afraid. So yeah, and that doesn't make you any less motivated. Web3 is still emerging, right? Imagine those building Ethereum far back in 2017 or 2014, 2015, and then you're saying, oh, I don't know if this will work. And every day you're saying, I don't know if this will work. I don't know. I have a job. I'm going through this. Bro, get out of the team. Are you joking? Like, you need crazy people to do this thing we're doing. I mean, at the time, like Ethereum, they needed crazy people that would believe in this thing without immediate gratification. And that kind of mindset is what is needed to get it to where it needs to be. But if you're here, you're in the trenches, you're grinding, you're pushing the edges of innovation, right? And you need to have faith to do that. You need to have
you need to have the faith.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this video, just have the faith, and you get things more by doing it. Just do it. Be like Nike and just do it. I mean, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Wonderful section.
I wish you well in your series.
Thank you very much.
You need more founder stories too. So well done. Well done.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to call it a day.